All right. Well, thanks to some ghosts and our technology and machines,
Oh, don't you
soundboard,
love
video, camera. I'm not an IT guy, nor am I a producer. But we lost video halfway through. So this episode will be, unfortunately, but still high quality audio only. So thank you.
Better for your eyes.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience. And we appreciate our fans and, enjoy the show.
Look, it's my fault.
It's
I'm not
Matthew's
the
fault.
regular.
It's all good.
Matthew has continued to show his lack of responsibility and effort here on the show again.
Cut.
Changes are coming to the FSA loan process. Plus, a couple of Arkansans have been appointed to leadership roles at USDA, and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Ooh, it's chilly.
Yeah, it's the norm down here.
Matthew, who has graciously joined us to produce today, said, I know it's cliche, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's cold in here.
Yeah.
Look, I am dressed for summer right now.
You are.
And it is not summer in this studio.
Is the sun still shining? Because I looked at the weather last night, and it looked like it was going to be kind of a rain out today. And get my kiddo dressed this morning, get me dressed this morning, kind of planning for that. Mm-hmm. But man, the sun shined all morning.
Did it?
I went and
You
did
get up early, don't you?
Yeah, I went and did my.
You actually see the sunrise.
My dad car duty at school job, and it was a beautiful morning. So I have not looked in the last little bit. I don't know if it's going to start raining or not, but
it has been very cool this week in the mornings.
Very mild, and I believe I said it last week, and I'll say it again. We seem to be in a really long stretch of just good, mild weather that I appreciate very much.
I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of rain here and there, but it keeps it from, heating up to boiling point too fast. So
I poured out 2 inches for my rain gauge yesterday. That was a little culmination of the week. Weekend. So, I mean, I'm loving it because I haven't had to turn my sprinklers on.
Hopefully the summer moves really fast, and I don't even have time to think about how hot it's going to be.
Yeah, I will say
they say next week it's coming.
Yeah, I know some row crop farmers up in Mississippi County I talked to on Monday that they're going to be happy for some heat to dry the land out a little bit because they've been struggling to get out in the field.
Yeah, there's a gentleman that I talked to at the gym. He's a retired guy, but his dad was in farming. So he always loves to talk to me about farming, and he was asking how planting was going, and I told him, I said, there's a lot of folks who are pretty wet out there. Not getting it done. Now, we're going to talk about planting progress and how we're doing. We're actually doing pretty well, all things considered. But you're right. There's still a lot of people who are who have some wet ground to dry out.
Well, the thing I learned about agriculture very early on is it's either too wet or it's too dry. And you usually get minutes.
It's never right,
in the right zone.
Whichever one we needed yesterday.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
we could probably write a list of that stuff,
Yeah. Look, it's easy.
I don't know if we'd still be doing the show if we did.
Yeah.
but you're exactly right. I mean, that's how it goes. Yeah.
It's easy for us to say that, from our ivory tower here in
That's
Little Rock.
it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
When you're out there actually doing it, I know it can be much more dramatic.
It gets tough. Yeah, that's right. What else is going on?
Is it Thursday?
Yes.
That's usually when the podcast comes out.
Sometimes it's on Wednesday.
Marilyn asked me this morning, she's like, what day is it? And she's a kiddo who always knows not only the day of the week, but the date.
Yeah.
Like people who always know the date amaze me. I have to look at my watch.
Yeah.
But this morning she's like, what day is it? I'm like, yeah, it has been a long week, hasn't it?
I don't know. Time just seems to fly, especially when you have a lot to do,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
That's fair.
Things get moving.
What?
Nothing. I felt the jab from over here in my chair. It's okay.
No, I was referring to myself.
I know you were saying
So
you
you're
got a
trying to
lot
jab at
going
me?
on. No, you're saying
don't think
you
I
have a lot going on. No, you're saying you do,
How
but
dare
we
you?
don't.
You're in the opposite
But we
building
don't.
from me. Yeah, you don't know what I do on a day-to-day basis.
I was paying you a compliment
But you laughed.
because I felt like you were coming at me.
No.
We had conflict last week,
I
too.
would not judge your workload in any negative way.
Look, I appreciate this because I feel the temperature in the room rising, and that's what we need.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been sort of quiet. We've had Brian is out at an American Farm Bureau communications conference this week. So, we've had a couple folks with him. So, it has been quiet, if nothing else, on our end of the hall, just because we've had fewer people around.
I've noticed that a few times I've been over there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else is really going on.
There's a
Sports world's pretty quiet.
is it like the U.S. Open or the Open this weekend? Golf?
Oh, maybe so. I don't know.
NBA playoffs are happening.
NBA playoffs are happening. The Kentucky
Speaking
Derby
of playoffs,
happened last
hockey,
weekend.
NHL. I saw that on ESPN last night. It's going on. I'm sure we have a lot of NHL fans.
I was gonna
that
say
listen to the
that's
show.
when you know Arkansans are getting to the bottom of the barrel, buddy.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of Arkansas AgCast listeners and hockey fans, it's probably just two separate circles.
Oh me! I did run into one of our insurance colleagues upstairs the other day. I went up there to get something, and he's waiting on his food, watching a soccer game on his phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know there were really, other than Matthew and I, sometimes McMahon, I didn't know there were any other soccer fans in this building. So
Jenny dabbles.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good call.
The PGA Championship is next weekend.
Okay. Well, there you go.
If you're a fan of the Myrtle Beach Classic or the Truist Championship, those are this weekend.
Oh, you know what else is this weekend?
What's that?
The Super Bowl of Moms.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. How
Good
could
call.
we just skip over that?
Yeah.
Guys, go get your cards and flowers and everything you need for this weekend. Go do that now.
Let's cut that.
Kind of an oversight, wasn't it?
Edit.
There ain't nothing happening in here as there's three men in this room.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, what's going on? Nothing, I guess. Da da da.
Oh, no.
I had to own that one.
Anyway,
Well, luckily this weekend, I know Chad with the Agriculture Podcast does have 2 episodes coming out that are Mother's Day related. So
That's good.
Keep an eye on your podcast feed for those. They're pretty good.
that's right. You can get them in this feed, I believe. At least on the social media
Yeah,
channels.
on social
you can
media
get 'em.
channels, absolutely.
And then, so look out for those. I have gotten a preview of both of those, and they sound really good.
Okay.
So what do you guys like to do? Do you do brunch? Do you do let mom nap all day?
Growing up, we always went to church and then had a big lunch. Everybody was there. And then we kind of left mom alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then last year, for my wife, me and Anthony went down to my parents and just let her do whatever she wanted for a day. And
have a free day.
this year, we'll be at the beach.
Oh, that's right. You're leaving tonight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to
Going
give
to the
away your-
beach.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do not go Rob John's house because I just spouted that out.
Yeah, somebody will be there waiting for you.
Yeah, that's right. And they're packing heat.
Look, the Arkansas AgCast affords us so much
Armed and
financial, things that, we all have armed guards.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't try it.
Yeah, somebody will be there waiting on you and be happy to greet you as you walk in the door.
But you're headed to the beach at some point.
Yeah, I'll be
And I
there.
know you're so excited about that.
Oh man, I can't contain myself.
Does being a redhead affect your beach enjoyment?
So
There's a lot of things about him that affects his beach enjoyment.
there is. I'm just born with it. It's an organic response. But like several years ago, I hated putting on sunscreen, because I myself, being such fair complected, have to put on a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah.
Very often if I'm going to be outside all day on the beach or wherever. So I started wearing those long sleeve thin,
Yeah,
breathable shirts.
UV protecting.
And the hoods on them and stuff like that. I've got a big brimmed hiking hat that I wear.
Stay covered up.
So a few years ago, we went to the beach, and Mary Louise was like, "You're a little beach baby." I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, look at all these little kids. You're dressed just like them." I was like, "Those are some smart kids. That's some smart parents."
Do you and Tony match?
We can. I've never. No. Mary Louise dresses him a little differently than I would like to dress myself.
Yeah, well, close though.
Close. Yeah. We'll be identical in gear.
Yeah,
maybe not in color,
in print or whatever. Yeah, that's funny.
He won't wear hats though.
Yeah,
but we'll
most
see.
kids hate hats.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll have a diet high in sand this week.
Yum.
Yeah, I bet he will. One of those deals you'll be washing sand out of him for
We'll bring it home.
month.
Just more protein.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we got a couple of other things to cover here before we get into the news, so I guess we'll move along. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We talked about that last week. We'll talk about it a little later on today. But we got to travel to Jackson County last week and sit down with Jennifer James and Haley Mills. Jennifer James, very familiar to the ag community. She is a fourth-generation farmer in Jackson County, has her own podcast now called Field Good Life, and is passionate about the mental health topic, especially for agriculture, for the agriculture community and rural communities. Then Haley Mills is a mental health professional who was raised around farming her whole life, and so it's just really a good conversation. And looking forward to having that out in the world.
I thought they had a lot of really good insight.
Yeah,
and a lot of good advice.
And they were fun too.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, they made the conversation enjoyable. A conversation that can sometimes be a little tough or stuffy, at times. But it was a great conversation. So we'll be releasing that next Thursday. I believe that's the 15th of May. We'll be releasing that episode, and we'll not have a regular show next week. But make sure you listen to that; it's a good one.
Were we at Jackson County?
Yes, we're at Jackson
so shout out
County
to them for letting us film or record in their conference room.
Conference room, very nice.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We go to a lot of county offices and meetings, especially during PD season. Not to say there's county offices that aren't this nice, but Jackson County was really nice. It's something you notice when you're in and out of them all the time.
Yeah.
But they were really nice and gracious and helpful.
I remember sitting in a couple of soybean promotion board meetings in that conference.
I saw a lot of rice and a lot of soybean awards on the wall there.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's talk a little bit about crop progress and quality. Corn is we're at 86% planted there. Last week we were at 80%.
Wow.
This time last year though we were at 90%, and the 5 years at 81%. So we're ahead of the 5-year average and not too far behind last year. 71% of the crop has emerged. Quality is looking like 57% good to excellent, 43% fair to poor. I will tell you that did tick up a little bit in the wrong direction since last week, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Rice, 77% planted this week. Last week we were at 68%. Last year though we were at 89%, and the 5 years 66%. So you can see we were really ahead of the game last year.
Yeah.
We're lagging behind that this year, likely because of all the rain and wet weather. But regardless, we are staying ahead of the 5-year average. So, that's a good thing for progress. 55% of the rice crop is emerged. The quality in rice, I'm telling you, is looking good. 73% good to excellent, with only about a quarter of the crop fair to poor. So good news potentially for rice farmers. We know that milling quality has got to play out.
Yeah, I wonder
some of
if
the issue we saw last year.
Planting early or what felt to be planting earlier has anything to do with that quality.
Could be. I don't know. I did see, a lot of the fields that have their levees in them starting to fill up with water and things like that. As I've driven around the state. All right. Soybeans, 58% planted. This week, last week it was 45%. Last year it was 64%. In the 5 years, 42%. So that trend continues there. 38% of the soybean crops emerged. We do not have quality reporting on that. I believe we'll have to get to 50% emerged before USDA starts reporting on quality. Peanuts planted, 11% this week. Last week it was 5%. Last year it was 29%. Kind of crazy. And the 5 years, 22%. So peanuts are the exception there, as we are not only well behind last year's pace, but also only about halfway to the 5 year.
I think we need to schedule a time with our peanut correspondent.
We may need to figure that out. I happened to be with him up there 2 weeks ago, and they had, wet. We're waiting on things to dry out. But yeah, it may be good to just check in with him and see what's going on. Or if he's listening to this, he could proactively share an update with us. 3% of the peanut crop is emerged. Sweet potatoes, remember, we haven't been USDA has not been reporting on this very much, but we do have somewhat of a substantial sweet potato industry here in Arkansas. 37% was planted this week. Last week it was 30%. We don't have last year or the 5 year data available on that, so we can just print or report on the current. And then that first cutting of hay, we're 11% through that this week. Last week it was 7%. Last year it was 10%. The 5 year was 7%. And I got to tell you, not good news on the quality here as we finish up. 42% good to excellent. Over half of the first cutting of hay is fair to poor. And that is almost certainly due to wet weather conditions, I bet.
That's concerning because a dry period is going to start within the next 30, 40, 50 days.
Oh, by, I'd say 45 days will be dry. So starting it out tough is not what you want to do. Mm-mm. So anyway, that's what I got.
Yeah, I have one more thing before we hop into our main stories. You bring up Heath Donner, and it reminded me that this last Monday I was up in Mississippi County, and their women's committee actually put on a ag spotlight banquet, which was aimed at promoting and recognizing all the students and FFA chapters, 4-H chapters in that area in Mississippi County, and it was a really good event. Mississippi County just got a new grill. Let me tell you, they've stepped the game up for county offices with their grills. This dude had a smoker on it. It had fryers, 3 fryers. It had a sink for washing hands and meat and stuff.
Wow.
It had a grill. It's a heck of a rig.
So it's like a trailer.
Yeah, it's a trailer, but it's. Let me tell you, those guys up in Mississippi County, they're going to be making some good food for folks.
So is it one of those like kind of walk-in trailers with like a roof on it?
No, well, it's very much kind of like, I know Pulaski County's got their big smoker and stuff. It's like that, but it's got 2 sides. So
more
one side,
like a competition smoker.
Yeah, very much a competition smoker kind of rig. But
so you got a griddle top, flat top?
I think so. But it's awesome. But more than anything, I've got to commend the women's committee up there for the hard work they're doing. And,
absolutely.
I know Melissa Donner, their chair, has really worked hard on that event. And,
absolutely.
Just big shout out to them for recognizing the youth and going above and beyond.
And thanks to you for getting us back on task, getting us away from the smoker to what really matters, which is what they're doing.
Look, hey, I will say, when I rolled up there,
about a smoker?
all of the men were standing around the smoker while the women were inside actually doing hard work.
Of course.
So, all those guys were just, man, yeah. I think I even saw Benton Felts just kind of leaning back.
Wow. I like it. Sorry, Benton. My goodness.
Everyone's got to have a role. And that moment, his role was,
chill out,
chilling and being a pretty face.
That's right. That's right.
Making sure the chair doesn't.
Benton, he's called you lazy and pretty, both on this in the last 30 seconds. I just want you to know that was not John or I.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry was one of the ones working. So
okay. I was going to say now. Where are we going here? Hey, I should have said this before I moved on. I brought you a present today.
I saw that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was your coffee cup for today or what.
No, it's not. We got a brand new AgCast coffee mugs. Good ceramic, good lid on it, you know. So I think, in addition to this being yours, I think that we should look at maybe trying to do some promotion on social media. If you're following, reviewing the AgCast, if you like and share some things like that, maybe hook you up with one of these bad boys.
Yeah.
And
I say, let's say, if you leave a review on Apple or Spotify or anywhere like that, you know, here in a month, maybe we put all those names in a hat and draw one.
Let's do it. So if you leave a review in the month of May for the AgCast and rate us, your name will go in a hat to win one of our brand new, nobody has ever even drank out of one of these, they're so new, AgCast coffee mugs.
So you have 2 weeks and 2 days.
How about that?
To get that review
That's plenty
in.
of time.
And we'll announce the first week of June.
You can review on Apple or Spotify, can't you?
Yeah.
I'm going to put this up here as a reminder for the rest of the episode.
We also need to send something to our
we will
fan
do that.
who won the bracket challenge.
We're waiting on one other item.
Okay.
And then we'll get them hooked up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It should have been me.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a song? Should have, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Both, after being so good all the way through, both my Final Fours fell apart.
You had me worried there for a second.
That's how it goes.
Matthew had a good team.
He did.
He did not put the work into it, but he did have a good team.
Wow.
Hey, I don't deny it.
That's right.
Well, let's get to the news.
Call a spade a spade. All right.
So it was announced last week that certain FSA loans will now be under review by DOGE. With the reputation that DOGE has built thus far, farmers and policymakers alike have concerns, needless to say.
Yeah.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Farm Service Agency, or FSA, will now require additional approval for farm loans and guarantees over $500,000 or any size loan to formal businesses, entities such as LLCs. These approvals must come from the USDA's Chief Financial Officer and the Department of Government Efficiency, like I said earlier, DOGE. The policy went into effect on April 29th, 2025, following an executive order aimed at improving cost oversight across federal programs. In fiscal year 2023, FSA provided 22,600 loans valued at about $4.7 billion to American farmers. When looking at that year, $1.7 billion in loans, or nearly 2,200 producers would have undergone added reviews by the Office of the Secretary and DOGE if those rules applied then. So a large number of people would have been affected. According to FSA, Arkansas, Texas, Iowa, and California were among the states receiving the highest number of these loans, making them particularly vulnerable to delays caused by the new approval process. The change has sparked concern, like I said earlier, from lawmakers and agricultural advocates. A group of 16 Democrat senators, led by Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, sent a letter to USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins requesting clarity on the potential of delayed loan approvals. They warned that even short delays could hurt farmers who rely on timely funding for reasonable purchases like seeds and fertilizer. Critics of the policy also argue that introducing new bureaucratic layers will slow down the already time-sensitive loan process. Former FSA Administrator Zach Ducheneau, who was under the Biden administration, emphasized that farmers organized as LLCs or other entities common among mid-sized and large farms will face the greatest impact, potentially risking operational setbacks and financial stress. While the USDA insists that most individual loans remain unaffected, concerns persist over local staffing shortages and how the added review process might further strain resources. Secretary Rollins has promised that frontline service will be preserved despite any staffing realignments. However, farmers and policymakers remain cautious about the implications of increased scrutiny on critical loan programs. So this is a really big concern, given, especially in the state of Arkansas, given that we're one of the largest participating states in that program. You're looking at not only operating loans, but also direct loans, whether it's purchasing seed, fertilizer, equipment, inputs of all all sorts.
Yeah.
And then also loans to purchase land,
Yeah.
which is already a very difficult thing to do financially. And then also a lot of beginning farmers depend on these loans too. And
yeah, that's important.
Let's just take row crop,
Yeah.
for example. $500,000 just drop in the bucket.
Uh-huh.
So if you're a beginning farmer and want to start off, you're going to initially sign up for at least $500,000 or apply,
Mm-hmm.
And then also you're going to go under this additional scrutiny or review process. And we all know, planning's pushing to earlier and earlier every year.
Right.
So when is this program going to be, when is it going to be awarded? When will you know? Are they going to wait till March to tell you to get the money? Stuff
Yeah.
like that is interesting, especially in the times we're working in right now when everything's so difficult and expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good point. And these aren't, these aren't safety net dollars or funds. They're loans.
Yeah.
So important to note there too. Yeah, I don't know. We continue to see changes in processes and how things are done, and not only within USDA but across the federal government.
I mean, do
And
they
this is
have
just
enough
another
people
sign.
to accurately review over 2,000 loans every year
Good question.
in a timely manner?
Yeah. Good
Given
question.
the fact that they've cut all these people already.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, but hopefully there won't be much. Hopefully there won't be much disruption. But
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on it. It's another episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which means that we've got a story on tariffs for you today.
Yeah, I saw you stole my segment.
Yeah, I did. So thought I'd hop in there. This one's from AgriPulse and Oliver Ward. I think we shared one of his stories a few weeks ago. Also, shout out to him for such informative writing. But Oliver reports that tariffs on Chinese products are impacting supply chains and prompting importers to rethink orders and suppliers. He notes that fewer ships coming into the U.S. will mean fewer ships going out, which could cause headaches for the ag industry. I had not thought of it this way, but it's really kind of an interesting perspective here. So for the week beginning April 27th, the Port of Los Angeles has had 16 scheduled vessels. That was around a 13% decrease from the same time last year and about a third less than the previous week.
Wow.
This week, there were 15 vessels scheduled for Monday at the Port of Los Angeles, which was about a third lower than the same week in 2024. See a trend here. Oliver Ward talked to the port's executive director, Gene Soroka, who said, "We are beginning to see the flow of cargo at the Port of Los Angeles slow. Essentially, all shipments out of China from major retailers and manufacturers have ceased," he said, "and cargo coming out of Southeast Asia locations is much softer than normal." He went on to blame tariffs for the drop in cargo. Now, since taking office, President Trump has increased duties on imports from China by 145%, and other countries face a baseline tariff of 10%. Soroka says if you're buying from China, it costs, get this, 2.5 times more than it did in the previous month.
Wow.
In the previous month. China's export orders for April fell to the lowest level since the pandemic, according to surveys published Wednesday by China's National Bureau of Statistics. One of the issues with the reduction in incoming ships is that those same ships are what carry our products back across the world.
Yeah.
Fewer ships coming in could lead to more competition for space on ships leaving certain ports and, as analysts warned, reduce the availability of shipping containers used to move soybeans, animal feed, wine, and other food and beverage items.
Mm-hmm.
These impacts could be heightened for perishable ag products that simply can't sit in port and wait on equipment or ships to move out. This story goes much deeper. I really only am scratching the surface here into the impacts on the animal protein producers as well as other imports and exports and a lot more. We'll continue monitoring this as it develops, but one thing's for sure, we've yet to see the full impact, and we're not sure how deep it will become. This is the first sort of ground truth I had seen
Yeah.
On this issue, so I wanted to bring that.
I saw on Yahoo this morning that Toyota, one of, if not the largest automobile manufacturer in the world, has lost about 21% of profit since tariffs have been in place.
Oh, really? My goodness.
So,
and they produce a lot of vehicles here in the state.
They do. And also think about like Apple or any of your electronics for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are made here.
Yeah, anything that has silicon in it.
Yeah.
And that's every single electronic.
I read an article 3 or 4 weeks ago that gave the price of an iPhone if you made it here in America. And I promise you, we would not be carrying.
We wouldn't use an iPhone.
It was over $3,500.
Yeah,
you know,
that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. It might be a good thing, but it's only a good thing because we're attached to our phones probably too much.
Yeah,
so
well, that's
we're
fair.
all about to be priced out of having them.
That's fair. Well, I'd take a flip phone tomorrow.
I read an article the other day that people are moving towards flip phones, just kind of disconnecting from social media and stuff was the article. But
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Anyway, all right. Speaking of moving away from social media, we mentioned it earlier, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and our friends at American Farm Bureau have brought back their Farm State of Mind campaign.
That's right, Jason. A healthy farm or ranch is nothing without a healthy you, and the Farm State of Mind program has a lot of helpful resources, like the Together All online community.
Together All is a safe, anonymous, online peer-to-peer community accessible 24/7 and moderated around the clock by licensed mental health professionals. The platform is available to farmers, ranchers, and members of their family who are 16 years or older.
So all you need to do is set up an anonymous profile to gain access to a network of peers who can listen and offer support. In addition, if farm families need counseling services, those are available for no cost thanks to the Farm Family Wellness Alliance.
To learn more, visit farmstateofmind.org or type Farm State of Mind in your search engine. All right, let's get back to the news.
Okay. Well, we haven't talked about interest rates in a while.
No, but I saw some rumblings about that yesterday.
Yeah, you probably read my script too. I saw you in there earlier this morning.
I didn't.
Yeah. So anyways, let's look at what came out of the Federal Reserve's latest meeting.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve's recent decision to leave interest rates unchanged wasn't a surprise to most, but what comes next is anyone's guess. Markets are currently betting on a couple of rate cuts later this year, moving down from the current range of 4.25% to 4.5%, but Chair Jerome Powell made it clear that the economic path is fairly uncertain. He was quoted saying, "Inflation remains somewhat elevated, while unemployment has stabilized at a low level. If that trend continues, rates may stay where they are," but Powell also stressed the effects on the economy remain highly uncertain. According to the DTN article that reported on this originally, reporting on the meeting, of course, the future could go several ways. The Fed might cut rates if inflation falls toward its 2% target, but if inflation stays high and unemployment rises, the Fed may still cut rates to soften the blow. On the flip side, if both inflation and unemployment worsen, the central bank could face a painful trade-off: fight inflation by raising rates or fight job losses by cutting them. So Powell cautioned risks are rising that inflation and unemployment will both worsen during the next several months. Adding to the complexity are dramatic policy shifts under the new administration in areas like trade and immigration. Powell noted that the tariff increases announced so far have been significantly larger than anticipated, suggesting that more price pressure could be on the way. These evolving policies are muddying the economic waters, of course, making it difficult for the Fed to predict the impact of inflation or growth. So despite pressure from President Trump, who said several different things about Powell we won't get into today on this show, and a lot of name calling, he's pushing for immediate rate cuts. The Fed isn't rushing to act, though. Cutting rates prematurely could undermine its credibility, as Powell emphasized. Our obligation is to keep long-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent a one-time increase in the price level from becoming an ongoing inflation problem. The Fed is prioritizing long-term stability over short-term political wins within that comment. So for farmers, ranchers, and small business owners who depend on affordable credit, future remains murky. While the market hopes for rate cuts, the Fed is holding the line until it's clear whether inflation or unemployment poses the greatest threat. Powell reminded everyone to the Fed's dual mission. He was quoted saying, "Without price stability, we cannot achieve the long periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans." I apologize, I butchered that terribly, but
No,
I think it
you
gives
got the point across.
It gives kind of some insight as why that rate didn't move, and what they're looking at in the future. So, I mean, does it tell us a lot right now? I think what it tells us is that if it goes one way, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, sure.
If it goes another way, not so bad.
Yeah, I think that. But what it does tell us is there's concern one way or another. So,
yep.
Just have to see how that goes. All right, we'll wrap up the news today with a couple of key appointments for Arkansas farmers and rural communities this week. U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced this week the latest slate of presidential appointments for key Farm Service Agency and Rural Development State Director roles. The announcement included 2 Arkansas-focused appointments that we'd like to recognize. First, David Branscombe, who was appointed as State Director for Arkansas Rural Development. He served in this role in the first Trump administration. Most recently, Branscombe was Director of Governmental Affairs at the Arkansas Department of Education and is a third-generation cattle rancher. Ty Davis was appointed as State Executive Director for the Arkansas Farm Service Agency. FSA is really what we call it. Davis was previously the State Agriculture Liaison for U.S. Senator John Bozeman of Arkansas and is a graduate of the University of Central Arkansas. FSA state directors help execute USDA policies in planning, organizing, and administering FSA programs through state offices and across the country. Rural development state directors focus on economic development projects in rural America. I think it's safe to say Arkansas Farm Bureau just wishes a hearty congratulations to both these individuals.
Oh, yeah.
We have shared this information on our social channels, also where you can read reaction from President Dan Wright on their appointments. So go check that out if you're interested.
Do you know where Ty's from?
I do know where Ty's from, and I was wondering if you might bring that up.
He also graduated from Stuttgart High School. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why they didn't put that in here.
What-
It
why
was a
would you?
real miss.
What hallowed halls Stuttgart High School must have, to have
be
so
a fly
much
on the wall then,
so much success running through it.
It
know?
is. There was just a period of absolute,
Greatness
and excellence that came out of that school. Not that it's not now, but
No.
but
certainly.
yeah, there are a lot of overachievers.
Sorry.
There are a lot of us. Yeah, y'all didn't see it coming, but we're here now.
Oh, look at us, baby. Oh, wow. If
Yeah,
you ever
so
doubt, you know
congratulations,
where
Ty.
John McMahon is from.
I'm excited and very proud. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be.
But
It's great
it
to
should
see.
be, stated to be very clear. All of the sarcasm is aimed at John McMahon, not
That's
Ty.
right. No.
Yeah.
No.
Of course.
We, I have been asked 5 times if we're going to get Ty on the show. So
We should.
Yeah, we should.
We need to.
He's been in
reach
this
out to
room
him.
several times.
Oh, for sure he
Yeah.
has. So we need to reach out to him and see if he's got the time.
Yeah, we can talk about Riceburg football.
But oh boy. All right.
Yeah, I think Jason should do that interview.
Yeah, exactly. You won't get anywhere
What?
if it's him.
Come on, man.
Just talk about the good old days and
What
running
was
the
your
rice levies.
favorite
Yeah.
street in Stuttgart? He'd be living the glory. He'll bring his yearbook in
Yeah.
here and you remember Miss Jones that taught chemistry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember going to Kibb's barbecue and and I saw you there that one time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be a great conversation. I know for a fact a lot of people would like it, especially
would
from
draw-
Arkansas County.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna say
would
that.
draw
There's
tens of ears.
tens of ears, and each person has 2, so that's only 5 people.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
we're happy to have them.
Yeah,
I know
happy
you
to
are.
Yeah.
I know you are.
No, Ty's wonderful. So
All right, buddy. You got any restaurant
yeah, it's
recommendations or
coming
talk
around to
for
me.
us? Yeah.
I've spent 2 days recently, 2 days back to back, unplanned in Alma. And, Alma's, it packs a punch that you don't expect when it comes to some fried fish.
I don't think I've eaten a meal there.
So,
in Alma.
Firstly, easy. Everyone knows Catfish Hole. Obviously, there's the one in Fayetteville right by the Farm Bureau office that, a classic stop after a Razorback game. But there is a location in Alma, and hey.
They have a location in Alma.
They do. And it holds up. You get them unlimited hush puppies, and you eat about 20 of them, and you say, well, that was a mistake.
I could do some damage on bottomless hush puppies.
Well, that's the problem is they put 10 in front of you to begin with. Me and our coworker Justin Roten were there last week. And, we ripped through those first 10. And then, our waitress comes by and says, well, you want some more hush puppies? And we both look at each other, and we know the answer. It's yes.
Sure.
But we're sitting there saying, well.
Yeah.
Oh. But then more hush puppies show up, and, you eat them.
As an economist, we like to put facts together. Like you can stack so many of these things to get to the moon. I wonder how many hush puppies they go through in a year, and what that distance would be if you lined them all up. How many times would those hush puppies wrap around the world?
That's a good question.
If I'm eating there often, it's too many times.
At least 2 laps around.
But
do you dip hush puppies?
I'm not. I like.
You just go straight.
I just
dry.
like straight.
Okay.
What would you dip yours in?
Ketchup, obviously.
You ever seen people put butter on their hush puppies?
I could get behind butter or honey.
No. Honey, no.
Well, so I will say they're hush puppies at Catfish Hole. If you've never been, they're not jalapeno. They are standard. Kind of have a sweet twist to them.
Corn
little onion.
No?
No whole kernels of corn in there.
Onion.
Okay.
Onion, yeah. But they're good. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And they usually come out hot and whew.
Crispy, crunchy,
a little crispy
soft?
on the outside, but then that perfect soft on the inside. If I get into my
hungry.
my bake-off talk, it's got a good
Are they
crumb.
crispy? Oh
Yeah.
You can press it and it rebounds.
At lunch I'm driving to Alma.
Well, but here,
it's a Catfish Hole, but you're talking about how amazing the hush puppies are.
Hey, the Catfish is good too.
Yeah,
Catfish is good too.
Okay.
But the other place in Alma is Crawl Pappies.
Crawl Pappies, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. They're good Cajun cooking. What I ended up getting there, I got a fried crawfish pasta. Oh,
and
fried crawfish.
That's what I had asked for, the crawfish pasta, and my waitress said, "Well, hey, do you know that's fried?" And I said, I at first kind of do I want this? And I said, hey, live a little.
Live a little.
When in Alma.
When in Alma, eat fried fish.
Yeah, that's it.
It was incredible. And, I will say the thing about Crawl Pappies is you feel like you're in a dive in Louisiana. They bring your food out on paper plates.
Yeah.
And, man, it's good stuff. My girlfriend got fried shrimp. That was good. We had a etouffee at the table with us, too. That was good. They have fried alligator if you're into that. So, and the owner came around and talked to us for about 5 minutes, and
customer service,
real nice guy, and wanted to make sure everything was good for us, and it was real good. And here's the beauty about both of these places.
That looks good.
I don't do po' boys, but I'm looking at a picture of their shrimp po' boy right now.
Hey,
my goodness,
it's good.
What do you not like about po' boys?
I don't love French bread.
Well, we can all be wrong sometimes, right, John?
That's correct.
I mean,
that looks really good.
These guys have got it going on.
I'll say here's the beauty about both of these restaurants. You're right next to 3 of our farm trail stops.
Boom.
Really?
Farm trail plug.
Yeah. You got Randy Arnold and Arnold Family Farm Store.
Yep.
Get you some strawberries. This summer they're gonna have some peaches. All their beef. Got the Lynham Family Farm. They've got their U-Pick blackberries.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go there this summer to go get some blackberries.
Yeah. Randy's a diehard go-to. You got to. There. But I'm really excited about Lynham's.
Yeah.
I went out there and met them the other day.
Yeah.
They've got almost as far as you can see blackberries.
Yeah.
They've got
really.
They got sheep. They got chicken. They've got a nice.
Yeah, it's a nice setup, and it's right across from Randy's.
Yeah,
so hey, you got 2 stamps there.
2 stamps right there. And what was the third one?
Third one was Crabtree Farms and Produce. I haven't actually been there yet,
I
but
haven't either.
I think they're doing like cantaloupe, watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon.
Yeah.
It's
I think they open in June.
I don't know the last time I've had fresh, like
fresh
Arkansas grown
yeah.
cantaloupe. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I
let
don't
me
know
see
if I have.
But
That's
I'll
what
say
I'm
that,
saying. I don't know that I have.
But anyways,
June. Yep, June. They open in June.
If you want strawberries, you need to get out there soon. Randy's his crop I know came on really really fast. We have a video coming on him tomorrow with his farm.
Yep.
But this summer he'll still have stuff. These other guys in June will have stuff going on. You know, make a little Saturday road trip. Go hit 3 stops on the farm trail. Get you some fried catfish or a po' boy or something like that. That's a good day. That's a good day.
And if you get 3 stamps, boom, you get the first prize level.
Yeah. Easy.
T-shirt, stickers.
Yep.
Pretty simple stuff. And you eat good.
You eat good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
hey, you should talk about the barbecue restaurant we ate at the other day.
We've talked about it before. Night Fire.
Night Fire.
Yeah.
Whew.
So took John for his first trip to Night Fire. You know, we were going to Newport. Figured we better stop off.
In Searcy?
Yep. And buddy, it's good stuff.
It's good. And that
The
and
brisket? Wow.
Yeah, their new location's nice too.
It's great.
All that space, you know.
Yeah.
Big. I mean, because I had been to the truck and then that other location that they had where they didn't have any seating, and then this is my first time to this location. And if you're interested, because I think this is kind of a trend thing right now, they do everything in beef tallow.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for that as a
I want to go back and try the
as an
burger.
incentive,
I saw
It's
a
good.
guy that got the smoked burger. That patty was,
I got
2 inches thick. it
They
seemed
had
like.
several sandwiches that surprised me. I didn't remember those being on.
No,
everything from a patty melt to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I want to say used to they would have kind of specials where it was like, hey, this week we're doing this special sandwich, but now if you want a barbecue sandwich, I think they're the best in the state.
Yeah, that brisket, the burger is the first thing I ever had there when
Really?
they were a food truck. Yep,
It's good stuff.
Before we got our food, the first thing I noticed about that place is how nice the seats were and how comfortable they were.
best seat in a restaurant in Arkansas.
Yeah,
I think.
I will definitely agree to that because like all these new restaurants, they make you sit in these really thin metal,
they get trendy seats.
trendy seats. Yeah,
they're
perfect.
cool looking,
Yeah.
but they're not
comfortable.
Maybe they don't want you hanging out in the restaurant. They want you to eat and leave.
See, Night Fire, they
Not
know what's
these
going
seats
on.
at Night Fire, buddy. I would like to put those in my house.
Oh man,
They know you're gonna lean back, loosen your belt a little bit, and get ready to chow down on some good barbecue.
You could put like 3 or 4 of them together side by side and lay down for a little bit.
yeah.
There you go.
Good call bringing up Night Fire, man. That's a real
they're
good
good
call.
stuff.
Their food's really good.
I got the street corners aside.
Yeah.
it was really
It
good.
was
Street corn's
good.
good.
Their pimento cheese, man.
Pimento
Yeah.
cheese good.
That pimento
That was
cheese, yeah.
I mean, it was pimento cheese, but the texture was different than what I'd ever had before.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
If you hate your arteries, their fried mac and cheese balls are
Oh,
Top
I'm
notch.
just seeing that here.
because they're fried in that beef
You
tallow.
could go in there. I'm real upset that I didn't see this because I just went straight for barbecue. I didn't even look at the sandwich menu. I'm looking at it right now. And this pastrami Reuben sandwich, brisket
Oh, yeah.
brine for 12
Oh, yeah.
days, smoked.
Put you down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even eat sauerkraut, and I would order that thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
If I was to
So-
tell you I didn't have some heart palpitations as I left that place, it would be a lie.
Yeah, you filled it up a little bit.
Yeah. So
I did
But-
too,
but,
though.
hey.
I ate everything on my plate. And you know who else? Brian. I mean, he
he ate more than both of us.
ate more than both
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah,
Exactly
Brian's sneaky.
He
He's
can do
he's
it.
a slender dude, but you see him chow down at a restaurant.
He had a smile the whole time on his face.
Oh, he did. He loved it. He did nap when we left there. He fell asleep. He dozed off on me.
That don't surprise me. And he's not even here to defend himself.
That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying it because he's not here. No, he'd never do that to me. It was great.
They had bacon on top of their potato salad.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Look, you got to make it good.
What time
That's
is
it.
it? 11?
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
What do y'all do
It's
this
time,
afternoon?
buddy. It's time, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to drive to Alma first, but then I'll go to Cersei and eat there
Get you a
too.
po' boy in Alma. And on your way back, stop in Cersei.
Stop at Cersei, yeah.
And buy some strawberries along the way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Spend
All
that
right.
money.
Well, listen, that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Absolutely. Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm John McMinn.
And we'll see you next week.